Masachika is a lonely disgusting loser until the most popular girl in school falls in love with him. She is so popular that everyone at school keeps staring at her when she walks in every morning. One morning, a worthless loser tries to riz her up with his Shrek charm, but Alya rejects him immediately. He tries various tactics to get her number, but she instantly rebuffs him and tells him that she have no interest on a loser like him, and this makes him completely speechless. The rest of the school lose any hope on getting a date with her since the most popular boy got roasted by her. Later Alya arrives in the class and finds Masachika sleeping on the desk. She bangs his desk him and asks him if he was up all night watching anime. He admits it, but he explains that he had something more important to do after watching anime. Alya thinks he was sharing his feedback online, but he claims that he was just playing Hamster Combat. Alya thinks he is crazy, but Masachika insists it's for good. She stares as he yawns like my cat, then she says something in Russian. He asks what she said, and she replies that it means he looks like a loser. The first period is chemistry, and Masachika realizes he forgot his textbook, so he joins Alya to share hers. As the teacher is writing on the board, we see Masachika fighting to stay awake. Alya sticks him with her pen, causing him to raise his hand. The teacher asks for the answer since he raised his hand. He looks at Alya for help, and she points to an answer. He confidently repeats it, but it ends up being wrong. The teacher asks her on his behalf, and she immediately gives the right answer. Masachika thinks about starting his villain arc but calms down because she is so cute. Seeing him pissed off, she repeats that word in Russian, which catches him off guard. When he asks her what she said, she mentions that she told him he is stupid. We then learn that Masachika was able to understand her Russian this entire time and that she was actually calling him a cutie. He tries to figure out what she meant by that, but she keeps brushing it off. It turns out he can understand her because his childhood crush spoke Russian, and he never thought he'd find himself getting charmed by a Russian girl. Who doesn't know he is able to understand her? If he told her, he knew she will get completely embarrassed. Later Alya catches Masachika messing with his phone and she warns him that it's forbidden to use it at school unless an emergency occurs. He doesn't respond, so she grabs his phone and sees a picture of a silver-haired girl labeled Goddess of the Moon. She gives the phone back to him, switches to Russian, and says that her hair is silver too and calls him a cheater. Masachika hears this and is taken aback. He asks her what she said, and she immediately replies by calling him a worthless, disgusting gamer boy. He gets flustered and tells her that he is really good at gaming with 8-year-old. We see Alya losing hopes for a loser like him. Later, Masachika is eating lunch with his friends when they notice the student council walk in: Alya, the Russian girl, her sister, Maria, and her friend, Yuki. The boys mention that Alya's sister keeps turning down every boy in school and claims she has a boyfriend. Masachika tells Takashi he has no shot with her since his head looks like a bowl. Takashi tells him not to ruin his chances just because he is friends with Alya. Meanwhile, the girls look for a place to sit. When Yuki spots Masachika looking at them, she approaches and asks if she and her friends can sit with them. The boys immediately say yes. The girls sit down, and Yuki notices that Masachika has gotten ramen just like her. As she tries it, she realizes the food needs seasoning, and Masachika agrees with her. Alya keeps staring with jealousy and asks if they are close. Yuki tells her that they are childhood friends and have gone to the same schools since kindergarten. When Masachika asks if the two of them are close, Yuki replies that she wants to be friends, but Alya warns her that being friends with her isn't fun at all. At that point, the boys have had enough and leave, saying their beauty is too much for their eyes to handle. After they leave, Yuki gets close to Masachika and asks if he has considered the offer to be part of the student council, but he replies, saying he has no intention of joining it. Yuki tells Alya that Masachika used to be her vice president in middle school and mentions that he is much smarter than he looks. Alya then replies in Russian, saying she already knows about it. Later, Yuki says her goodbyes, and Alya expresses surprise that he has a female friend. Masachika points at her, stating she is also his friend, which surprises Alya. She agrees and walks away with a smile, leaving him contemplating his existence. Later, Masachika dreams about his childhood days when he used to play with a blonde Russian girl. When he wakes up, he remembers learning Russian just to talk to her, although her name escapes him. The next morning, he gets to class early and tidies up before anyone else arrives. Alya is the first to come in and is surprised to see him up early. Masachika notices dirt on Alya's socks and asks if she stepped in a puddle. She explains that a passing truck splashed mud on her. She then asks if he plans to join the student council, but he insists he would rather not. Alya tries to ask something else but gets embarrassed and drops it. She starts taking off her socks, which makes Masachika nervous. Noticing his reaction, Alya tells him to fetch a spare sock from her locker. Masachika reluctantly agrees, but when she asks him to put it on her, he hesitates. She switches to Russian, suggesting it's for her benefit too, which makes him wonder if she's using him to relieve stress. When he asks what she said, she calls him a coward. Determined, he proceeds to help her. Alya gets flustered, saying she wasn't ready, but he tells her to stay still. Accidentally, he touches her inappropriately, prompting her to kick him in the face. Later, Alya gives him the silent treatment, so he tries to apologize. She calls him a leg fetishist in Russian but then apologizes for kicking him. When she checks if he's okay, he deflects with a joke, which embarrasses her further. She hits him and runs away, with him chasing after her. They keep running for 10 minutes around the school, but after a while, she stops running. Masachika apologizes for his behavior and offers her favorite drink as a peace offering. Touched, Alya switches to Russian to ask if he wants a sip, hinting at an indirect kiss. He pretends not to understand, and she laughs, thinking he doesn't get it. After a few days, Masachika meets up with Yuki in a storage space, and the two start mumbling to each other. Suddenly, Alya pops up and apologizes for being the third wheel. They begin sorting through the items in the storage room. Masachika brings down some board games, and Yuki starts bragging about her last win with cards. Alya, feeling jealous, tells the couple to get back to work. She then switches to Russian, telling Masachika to come to her, but our useless main character gets shivers while the Russian girl continues to beg for him. They eventually head to the student council president's office, where the president introduces himself as Kenzaki, saying he has heard a lot about him. Masachika looks at him and isn't surprised that someone like him is the president. He takes his leave, but the president stops him, saying he doesn't want to let him go empty-handed after all that work. He insists on buying him dinner and invites the girls to join them as well. At dinner, Kenzaki praises the group for finishing the work quickly. Yuki says that Masachika is amazing, claiming he can do anything he is asked and is super smart. The president asks if he wants to be part of the student council, but he immediately declines, saying he had enough of it in middle school. Yuki asks him again to join, but he replies that she doesn't need him since she is going to win. However, Kenzaki reveals that it's not going to be easy, especially since Alya is planning to run too, which surprises Masachika. Alya expresses that she will be the one to win the president's spot. After dinner, Kenzaki suggests that he walks Alya home while he takes care of Yuki, and they split up. They don't talk on their way home, and when she reaches her stop, she leaves without saying a word in Russian. Masachika arrives home and sees that he has company. Yuki is enjoying herself on the couch, and Masachika asks what she is doing there, but she ignores him and continues reading her manga. Masachika calls her out for pretending to be childhood friends, but Yuki insists that being siblings doesn't contradict that. And then she starts talking nonsense about the manga she is reading. The next morning, Masachika wakes up to find Yuki on top of him and tells her to get lost since he is not interested. Later, they head to the mall together, and Yuki is excited as she checks out some clothes. Masachika sees the price tag and is completely shocked. While they shop, Masachika asks Yuki if she has also noticed a silver-haired girl in the corner of her eye. Yuki tells him that she is way ahead of him and has noticed her from the start. Masachika wonders how to approach her delicately, but Yuki doesn't care at all and just walks up to Alya. Alya, on the other hand, tries to play it cool, saying she just noticed them, but everyone knows the siblings are not so oblivious. Yuki asks Alya if she is free to have lunch with them. When Masachika tries to stop her, Alya wonders what the big deal is. Yuki explains that the place they want to eat at specializes in spicy ramen, and Masachika adds that they make it super spicy. Not wanting to look like a loser, Alya accepts their invitation despite Masachika's warning. Later they arrive at the Hell's Gates and Alya is having second thoughts about going in, but Yuki starts ruining her mouth and this makes Alya pissed off. When they get in, Yuki explains to Alya all the dishes and the flavors they have. Masachika picks to eat the least spicy dish so he can make her live for a bit longer. The girls also decide on trying the same dish as him. Later as they wait, Alya notices Yuki is dressed up like a boy and asks what's up with that. Yuki, to make the situation a little interesting, points out that she was laying in bed with Masachika in the morning, which makes him to splash the drink, and we see all the people on the restaurant giving them a strange look. Alya asks Masachika what Yuki meant by that, and as Masachika tries to explain himself, the waiter arrives with 3 bowls of blood pond. Alya is completely terrified by the look, but she doesn't want the money to go to waste, so she forces herself to start eating it. Suddenly, the spices start hitting her. Masachika, worried, asks if she has seen the lights of heaven, but she tells him she hasn't reached that point yet. She starts crying and begs for it to end in Russian, but every time Masachika tells her not to push herself, she refuses. Yuki, unfazed by the spiciness, encourages her to make it even spicier. Masachika realizes Yuki is doing it on purpose, so he warns Alya not to do it, but stubbornly, she refuses and pours more spice on it. When she takes a bite, she starts screaming loudly and they end up outside. Masachika tells Alya that Yuki got off to buy something. It's just the two of them now, so Masachika asks Alya if she wants some ice cream. Once she cools off, he asks why she wants to be the student council president. Alya says she doesn't need a reason to aim high. When he asks if she has a running mate, she says she doesn't and would just pick a random person because of the rules. In Russian, she wishes he would run with her, which reminds Masachika of a girl who cried after losing an election, making him feel bad. Alya asks if he has any plans, and Masachika says he doesn't since Yuki won't be back for a while. Alya then asks him to go shopping with her. Yuki had mentioned that shopping together would imply a close relationship, and Masachika realizes Alya doesn't have many friends because of her prickly attitude, so he decides to go with her out of pity. The store, Alya wonders why Masachika is being so nice and gets mad, thinking he expects her to lose the presidency. She heads to the changing rooms, wanting to impress him with her fashion sense. Before she starts changing, she realizes he might overhear, so she tells him to move farther away. Relieved, she changes into a cute outfit to show him. She wonders what she'd do if he has no reaction, but when she opens the curtain, Masachika tells her she looks great, putting effort into the compliment. Alya gets embarrassed, wondering if he's used to giving compliments because of Yuki, so she tries on a boyish outfit. Again, Masachika makes her blush by saying she looks cool. Alya tries on outfit after outfit just to get compliments from Masachika, who's probably dying inside. This time, she chooses something risky to tease him. However, when she shows him, she finds Yuki standing there. Embarrassed, Alya switches to Russian and wishes she could disappear. Masachika translates for Yuki, who calls her a big baby. Later on the train, Alya wonders who would win between two fictional characters but snaps out of it when Masachika and Yuki start to say their goodbyes. She freaks out about the skimpy skirt she wore but then realizes something more important: they both got off at the same station.